In this video, I'm going to talk through some mindset principles which really helped me unlock a few things and get to the next level. I know it helped me get to the next level because the results of my business skyrocketed after, I made a few of these discoveries. So I think this is such an important video for some entrepreneurs to hear. Now, what sparked all this off? Well, I was speaking to this YouTube fitness influencer earlier today, and he's a guy who's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He's like a big name. You'll have probably watched his stuff. I'm not going to reveal his name just for his own privacy. But basically, I was speaking to him, and he was telling me something so interesting, which is he knows so much about like health and fitness. And he said like he could literally talk all day to anybody about it, right? And give them so much advice. He says, but people just don't care to hear the advice. And he said that people just aren't that concerned about like the health. And I was like, that's really interesting because I've experienced something similar as well. In fact, I've even had people proactively reach out to me, whether it's family members or friends, or, just connections off like LinkedIn, which is where I run my business. And they'll say things like, I'm dealing with this problem, I'm dealing with this problem, what do you suggest? And I'll give these guys advice, and like 99% of people don't take the advice. And if you fast forward like 6 months later in their lives, they still have the same problem, whether it's business or whether it's personal. And this time they've pretty much just like rationalized why they have this problem. And he was like, yeah, I've experienced exactly the same thing with like his followers and people who he's related to as well, just people in general. And he was like, what do you think it is? He put it down to motivation. I said, I think it's actually to do with the level of pain somebody experiences around something. So when we get like a failure, or when we get like something not go well for us, we get like a certain element of pain from it. And depending on the person's threshold to be able to deal with that pain depends on if it will kick them into action and kick them through the procrastination, basically. And humans, as you know, you could probably look at your own lives, but you could probably look at like lives of the people around you. We have this tendency to procrastinate on a lot of things, to not really move unless we have to actually, not really move unless there's some element of pain there. And we do this all the time. People do it in fitness, people do it in life, they do it in everything, right? And truthfully, what happens is we need some level of pain to be able to actually get moving. And a good example of this is, I remember back in the day when I was setting my business up, I basically sucked at sales. I didn't know I sucked at sales, but I kind of knew I wasn't as good as I should be, but I wasn't aware of like, how bad I was. So I'd had tons of deals, tons of failures before this particular event, and loads of unsuccessful moments, loads of rejections. And there was one thing which actually made me start pulling the trigger a lot more, one particular painful event. And I remember I actually had this situation where these two clients were about to sign up for my service, but they just wanted to think about it. And I thought, you know what, I've tried all the objection handling. These guys seem like good guys. They really want to sign up for my service. They're just not. So what happened was I followed up with these guys like 2-3 weeks later, and both of these potential customers had actually bought from my competitors. And they bought from my competitors, and they couldn't really give a reason why, why they'd done it. They just said like they just felt like they were more suited for these competitors. And it was so painful because I knew my product was better. I'm a very competitive person by nature, so that's literally like the worst place I could lose to. And I remember like this was the one that hurt, but also this was the one that caused the mindset shift as well. So I remember like I came in here into the living room here, and I spoke to my girlfriend, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go out for a walk. And I went out for a walk. This was a few years ago now. And on the walk, I remember like just seriously thinking to myself, like, I was reflecting on the conversations I had with both of them. I was like, how can I be so bad at this? Like, why am I so bad? Why can't I pull the trigger? Why is this not working out? And I wasn't blaming anything else. I was blaming myself, right? Which is a key point. And anyway, I blamed myself so badly and I really dwelled on it. This isn't a self-improvement channel, by the way. I'm telling you what works. And what happened was over the next 2 weeks, basically kicked myself into action to improve my sales. I, got like a sales mentor. I got I did like lots and lots of practice sessions. I made sure I was reading my script. I was role playing. And this huge spurt of action, which I hadn't been able to do before, was triggered by this pain. And what happened after that was I actually had my first 5-figure month that month. And the sales I lost from those two people, I can't remember at the time, but it was equivalent to like 7 to 8 grand. And that was so painful because I didn't have much money at the time. And then suddenly I had my first 5-figure month. Now, you could look at each of those individual events and say they're luck perhaps. But let's look a little bit deeper. The pain caused me to actually take the actions. And I think a problem is in like the modern day world is that we are almost immune to pain. Either we try and deal with it rather than feeling pain and feeling uncomfortable with ourselves. We try and basically look to escape that as fast as possible, look to get back to comfort as fast as possible. So we either rationalize it, we just carry on with life as it is, or we deny it's even a thing. And look at examples where this actually happens. Most people don't leave their job until they really, really hate their job. And usually it's been a downward cycle for a little while about how content they are and how much they enjoy it. And then suddenly, something happens which makes them really hate the job. And only then they decide to actually change themselves. If you look at how relationships go, and I've seen this one so many times, a couple get together, they are the best versions of themselves, which is why they attract each other. And after time, they get lazy. They start showing more frequently the worst side of themselves. They, get completely out of shape. They stop actually spending quality time to each other. And what happens is, and this is so funny, is that they eventually 6 years later, 7 years later, they break up. One person's, goes off with someone else. The other person is left with all of the guilt, the shame, and they might be overweight. And the amount of times I've seen an overweight person who wasn't overweight when they started the relationship come out of a relationship overweight, and only then do they work to get themselves back in shape. And suddenly you'll see this transformation over 6 months of where they go to the gym. And the ironic thing is, if they would have just showed up every day in the relationship as the better version of themselves and not got lazy, they would probably still be together because the relationship would still be quite good. But unfortunately, only the pain drove them to actually improve themselves. And you also see it as well with the gyms, in January, everyone's put on the Christmas pounds, everyone's, really hungover. I know I was from Christmas, and they all get themselves to the gym in January. The gyms in January are so busy because everyone has promised themselves they're going to make a change in their life. And then by the end of January, most people have given up on their goal. And that's part 2 of what I'm trying to explain to you is, first of all, to make a change, you need to embrace the pain, right? You need to accept the pain. If something's going wrong, whether it's in your business, whether it's, in your personal life, and this, you wouldn't find this stuff on a self-improvement channel. I'm telling you from raw experience, I'm telling you from hundreds of people I've spoke to, from working with people on high performance to helping people in the business, it's all the same. People respond to pain, and the people who don't ignore the pain are the people who actually improve and can embrace things. And believe it or not, I think that's only probably 1 out of every 100 people that actually take the advice because they embrace the pain. But the second thing is, you look at the drop-off rates from the gym, at the end of January, or you look at the people who have come into the brand new year with all these business goals. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. And for the first 2 weeks, they're super motivated. And then after that, they stop being motivated. And the reason why is because they forget the pain after a while. So That's part two of it. First of all, you have to embrace the pain and actually acknowledge it. Second of all, you have to remember it. I'm not telling you to dwell on it, but I'm just telling you to like mentally understand that, you know, something wasn't right a few weeks ago and you were very, very, you know, you were not in a great place because of it and you were very unhappy with the situation. Like, don't get used to feeling happy, because we as humans tend to drift back to more towards comfort. And if you can understand these principles and actually implement them in, I know I unlocked like a different level to myself as soon as I'm like, oh, I should be not running from the pain. I should be, you know, embracing it a little bit. And when I embraced it a little bit and started acknowledging the true situation, only then I could change it. And once, the weird thing is this is all levels as well. So a level 1 person who's, you know, maybe never made a change before in their life, never, let's just say never went to the gym, let's just say never started a business, or is just in the early stages of starting it. They aren't going to be capable as the same things as a level 10 person who's got the war scars and the experience and the ability. So what's kind of like the difference? Well, the level 10 person has been through like the trenches and then been to the peak as well. And the trenches is where they feel the pain, and then they go up more because they've just improved themselves, because they've embraced their pain. And then they reach level 2, right? It's like a video game. And then level 2, you know, they need to go a little bit further along. They have different goals. Then they reach more pain and they come down, they react to it accordingly. They get up to level 3. But typically what most people do is they are level 1. They go down, they feel the pain, they justify it, they carry on the path, they justify it again when they hit more pain, and they don't ever change, man. You need to have the pain to get to different levels. You need to embrace it, and you need to kind of continually keep it there as well as sort of motivation. And I remember like when I lost those 2 clients and like lost, you know, 7 to 8 grand to my competitors, boy, that was painful, right? I was like, I need to change this. I've got to do everything in my might to change it. And, you know, occasionally you miss like the opportunity to get the pain. You know, I'm not perfect as well. I'm just kind of giving sort of some experience around things I've seen. And I've missed the opportunity as well before, and I've justified things as well. But you have to try and acknowledge it. And this is what this channel's all about, is to try and cut some years off your learning time, acknowledge the pain, then move, you know, try and move up with it, move in the direction of like growth from there, because you need to get to the next level. And the level 1 person is not going to be capable of the actions and the results of the level 10 person, but you can't just fast track there. You have to go through like the pain levels. I hope this video helps somebody out there. I know it actually helped me a lot. I know it changed my mindset a lot. So if it did, I will see you in the next one. Take care.